Echo of the Ancients. The excavation site trembled beneath Captain Maya Shen's boots as another tremor passed through the planet's unstable crust. She steadied herself against a crystalline pillar, its surface cool despite the sweltering heat of Kepler 442c's twin suns. Sweat trickled down her spine beneath the tactical exosuit as she surveyed the cavernous chamber her team had uncovered 3 days prior. "Status report, Lieutenant Rivera," she called through her comlink. "Structural integrity at 78% and holding, Captain." Rivera's voice crackled with static. "But these quakes are getting worse. The science team estimates we have maybe 48 hours before this whole region goes critical." Maya nodded, though no one could see her. "Understood. Tell Dr. Okafor to hurry with those translations. I want to know what we're dealing with before Earth Command pulls the plug on this operation." She pushed away from the pillar and continued deeper into the alien structure. The United Earth Exploration Court had detected unusual energy signatures emanating from this uncharted world 6 months ago. What they expected to find was valuable mineral deposits, or perhaps natural phenomena worth studying. What they found instead was this: a vast complex of unknown origin, buried beneath kilometers of rock and ice, predating human civilization by millions of years. The chamber opened into a vast atrium, where the rest of her team worked frantically at various stations. Dr. Amara Okafor, their xenolinguist, hovered over a console covered in luminescent symbols. Her dark fingers traced patterns in the air as her augmented reality interface mapped the alien script. "Tell me you've got something, Amara," Maya said, approaching the scientist. Amara looked up, her eyes gleaming with excitement behind her AR lenses. "Captain, this is remarkable. The language shares structural similarities with mathematical patterns we've observed in pulsar emissions. It's as if..." She paused, searching for words. "As if the builders wanted their message to be universally decipherable." "And what's the message?" "That's just it. It's not just data or historical records. It's instructions." Amara gestured toward the center of the chamber, where a massive platform stood surrounded by more crystalline pillars. "This facility houses something they considered important enough to preserve for eons." Security Chief Damon Ward approached, his hand resting casually on his pulse rifle. His scared face betrayed nothing, but Maya knew him well enough to recognize the tension in his shoulders. "I don't like this, Captain," he said quietly. "First contact protocols exist for a reason. We should wait for the xenorchaeology specialists from Arcturus Station. In 48 hours, this site will be buried under kilometers of magma," Maya reminded him. "Whatever's here will be lost forever. Earth Command gave us authorization to investigate." Ward's expression darkened. "Authorization isn't the same as wisdom." Before Maya could respond, a young technician called out from across the chamber. "Captain Chen, we got something." The team converged on the central platform, where Specialist Kai Zhang manipulated a series of holographic controls. The floor beneath them hummed, a subsonic vibration that Maya felt in her teeth rather than heard. "I managed to activate what appears to be a stasis field," Zhang explained, his fingers dancing through the projected interface. "There's definitely something inside, and it's giving off biological readings." "Biological?" Dr. Elijah Khatri, their xenobiologist, pushed forward, his augmented eyes dilating as he focused on Zhang's readings. "That's impossible. Nothing could survive millions of years, even in stasis." The platform's center began to glow, a pale blue light that intensified until Maya had to shield her eyes. The humming grew louder, and the tremors increased in frequency. "Zhang, shut it down," Ward shouted, raising his weapon. "I can't." The technician's fingers moved frantically across the interface. "The sequence has..." Ward and his security team had their weapons trained on the entity, but it made no aggressive moves. Instead, it tilted its head, studying Maya with an intensity she could feel like physical pressure against her skin. "No one move," she ordered, slowly rising to her feet. "Dr. Okafor, can you attempt communication?" Amara stepped forward cautiously, her AR interface scanning rapidly. The symbols around the chamber changed when it appeared. "I think," she faltered. "I think they're referring to it as Nexus or maybe Sentinel, some kind of guardian or weapon." The entity suddenly moved, so fast that Maya barely registered it. Before Ward could fire, it stood directly in front of Maya, towering over her by at least 2 feet. She froze, heart hammering in her chest, as it extended a limb toward her face. "Captain," Ward shouted, his finger tightening on the trigger. "Hold your fire," Maya commanded, though every instinct screamed at her to retreat. The entity's limb, not quite an arm, not quite a tentacle, stopped inches from her face. From its surface, smaller filaments extended, weaving a complex pattern in the air between them. Amara gasped. "It's communicating." Those patterns matched the script we've been studying. The filaments suddenly glowed brighter, and Maya felt a strange sensation, like fingers rifling through her thoughts. Images flashed through her mind. Earth, starships, humanity spread across the solar system and beyond. Then, abruptly, the connection broke. The entity withdrew its limb, and to everyone's astonishment, lowered itself in what could only be described as a bow. "What the hell?" Ward muttered, his weapon still raised. A mechanical voice emanated from the entity, the words halting and oddly accented, but clearly understandable. "You carry the echo. After so long, you have returned." Maya exchanged bewildered glances with her team. "I don't understand. What echo?" "The genetic echo. The resonance pattern. You are of the creators." Before Maya could question further, the chamber's ambient lighting shifted to red, and alarms began to sound throughout the complex. The entity straightened, its body language shifting to something Maya instinctively recognized as alert wariness. "Others approach," it announced. "Hunters. They have followed the awakening signal." "Hunters?" Ward demanded. "What hunters?" The entity turned toward the chamber's entrance. "Those who have sought the Creator's technology for generations. They will destroy this facility and all within it." It turned back to Maya, its faceless head somehow conveying urgency. "You must command me, Sovereign. The protocols require your authorization to engage defensive measures." Maya felt the weight of the entire team's stares. "I'm not your Sovereign. I'm Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Exploration Corps. Your designation is irrelevant. Your genetic signature carries the command authority." The entity's voice became more insistent. "Without your command, I cannot protect this facility or its contents. The devourers will consume all." As if on cue, the facility shook with an impact that was definitely not geological in origin. Warning symbols flashed across the alien consoles, and Dr. Okafor's AR interface went haywire with incoming data. "Captain," Rivera's voice came urgently through the comlink. "We have multiple unidentified vessels entering the atmosphere. They're not ours, and they're not responding to hails." Maya made her decision quickly. "Evacuation Protocol Alpha. Get everyone back to the ships." She turned to the entity. "What are you called?" "I am designated Nexus Prime, Guardian of the Archives and Executor of the Creator's Will." "And what exactly do you need me to command you to do, Nexus Prime?" The entity's response was chilling in its simplicity. "To devour them. To eliminate the threat with extreme prejudice, as I was designed to do." Maya felt the blood drain from her face. Whatever this thing was, it had been created as a weapon, and now it was asking her permission to kill. Another impact rocked the facility, closer this time. Dust and crystal shards rained from the ceiling. "Captain, we need to move," Ward urged. Maya looked at Nexus Prime, her mind racing. "I command you to protect my team and secure our escape. Minimal casualties on all sides. Is that understood?" Nexus Prime was motionless for a moment, as if processing her orders. Then it straightened to its full height, its body beginning to transform. Plates shifted, limbs elongated, and what had appeared to be decorative elements reconfigured into unmistakable weapons. "Command acknowledged, Sovereign," it intoned, and Maya realized with a chill that she had just unleashed something ancient and terrible upon whoever was approaching. As her team raced to gather essential equipment, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that she had set in motion events that would change humanity's place in the cosmos forever. Behind them, Nexus Prime moved toward the chamber entrance, its body now a sleek war machine primed for combat. And yet it had bowed to her. An alien weapon of unimaginable power had recognized her authority and awaited her command. Whatever connection existed between her genetic makeup and the long-vanished creators, it had just saved her team, and possibly humanity itself. Maya Chen, who had joined the exploration corps to discover new worlds, suddenly found herself commanding the deadliest weapon in the known universe. And the hunters were coming. The hunger awakens. The corridor ahead erupted in a hail of plasma fire, superheating the crystalline walls until they glowed orange. Maya flattened herself against a support column, the exosuit's cooling system working overtime as ambient temperature soared. Beside her, Security Chief Ward grimaced as he checked the charge on his pulse rifle. "That's the third blockade," he muttered. "These hunters came prepared." Maya nodded grimly. Their retreat to the surface had turned into a tactical nightmare. The alien vessels, 7 of them, according to Rivera's last report, had deployed ground forces with frightening efficiency, cutting off access to their shuttles. Now her team was trapped in the labyrinthine facility with unknown hostiles closing in from multiple directions. "Dr. Okafor, any progress identifying our visitors?" Maya asked over the comm. "Partial match in the xenobiological database." Amara's voice replied, strained but professional. "Visual confirmation suggests Valkyrie physiology. They're a spacefaring species from the Cygnus arm, highly territorial. Earth diplomats made contact with their outer colonies last year, but relations have been tense." Maya processed this information quickly. The Valkyrie were known for their advanced weapons technology and cultural emphasis on acquiring power through conquest. If they believed this facility contained valuable technology, they wouldn't hesitate to eliminate the human expedition. A shadow passed overhead, and Maya looked up to see Nexus Prime traversing the ceiling, its form reconfigured for stealth. The living weapon had proven its worth over the past hour, clearing paths and neutralizing Valkyrie scouts with terrifying efficiency. True to Maya's command, it had avoided lethal force where possible, though she doubted their attackers would show the same restraint. "Sovereign." Nexus Prime's voice resonated directly in her mind, a disconcerting ability it had demonstrated shortly after the attack began. "The primary evacuation route is compromised. 27 hostiles have established defensive positions at Junction Point Alpha." Maya suppressed a shudder at the mental intrusion. "Can you find us an alternate route?" "Affirmative. There are maintenance conduits designed for creator service drones. They will accommodate human physiology, though with minimal clearance." Maya glanced at her team. 12 men and women, the best Earth had to offer, now looking to her, with expressions ranging from determination to barely concealed fear. They had signed up for exploration, not warfare. "Lead the way," she ordered. Nexus Prime dropped silently from the ceiling, its body reconfiguring once more. Maya was beginning to understand that what had initially appeared to be armor was actually Nexus Prime's body, a seamless blend of organic matter and programmable technology far beyond current human capability. "This way, Sovereign." It moved toward what appeared to be a solid wall, placing a limb against its surface. The crystalline material rippled like water, revealing a narrow passage. The hunters cannot detect these pathways. They lack the genetic markers to activate them. "But I can," Maya said, the implication hanging heavily in the air. "You carry the echo," Nexus Prime confirmed, as if this explained everything. The team filed into the passage, which sealed behind them. Inside, bioluminescent patterns provided soft illumination, revealing a tunnel that extended into darkness. "Captain," Dr. Captry spoke quietly as they moved forward. "I've been analyzing the biological components of our ally. Its cellular structure isn't just advanced, it's impossible. The organic material is in a constant state of flux at the quantum level. Meaning? Meaning it shouldn't exist according to our understanding of physics. It's as if the creators found a way to merge living tissue with the fabric of reality itself. Which would explain why they died out, added Dr. Okafor, her voice tight with stress and excitement. The symbols I've translated suggest they reached too far, too quickly. They achieved technological apotheosis before developing the wisdom to manage it. The passage suddenly widened into a small chamber filled with what appeared to be suspended animation pods. Most were empty, but 3 contained humanoid forms, preserved in transparent stasis fields. More creators? Maya asked, approaching one of the pods. Captain Chen. Nexus Prime's voice echoed in her mind before the entity itself appeared through one of the chamber's entrances. Its form was damaged, with sections of its outer shell missing, revealing pulsating organic material beneath. The hunters have breached the primary security perimeter. Their leader approaches. How many? Ward demanded. 43 remain combat capable. I had eliminated 29. Maya processed this with a chill. In less than an hour, a single Nexus unit had destroyed over a third of the Valkyrie force. What could an army of such weapons accomplish? Captain, Zhang called urgently from the console. I've accessed some kind of communication system. There's a signal coming through. It's Earth frequency. Hope surged through Maya as she rushed to the console. This is Captain Chen. Who am I speaking with? Static crackled, then resolved into a familiar voice. Maya, thank God. This is Admiral Castillo, UEE Command. We've been trying to reach you since we detected the Valkyrie fleet entering the Kepler system. Admiral, we're in a critical situation. The Valkyrie are attempting to seize advanced technology from this facility. We've lost contact with our surface teams, and most of our ships have been destroyed. We know. The Dauntless Battle Group is en route, ETA 40 minutes. Can you hold that long? Maya looked at Nexus Prime, then at her exhausted team. We'll have to. But Admiral, you need to understand what we're dealing with. This facility contains technology far beyond anything we've encountered, including, she hesitated, glancing at Nexus Prime, including sentient weapons, a pause on the other end. Understood, Captain. Secure what you can. Destroy what you must. The Dauntless will deploy dropships as soon as we establish orbital superiority. Acknowledge. Chen out. Maya turned to her team. We have 40 minutes to hold this position. As if on cue, the chamber shuddered as something massive struck the outer doors. Metal screamed against crystal as the barriers began to buckle. They'd brought heavy weapons, Ward observed grimly. Nexus Prime moved to Maya's side. Sovereign, I cannot maintain defensive operations at current capacity with these damage levels. I require authorization to implement emergency protocols. What protocols? Maya asked warily. Neural synchronization. A temporary bond between your consciousness and my operational matrix. It will allow me to draw power from your genetic resonance with creator technology. Dr. Katri stepped forward urgently. Captain, the biological readings I'm getting from you have been changing since we entered this facility. Your DNA is actively reconfiguring in response to exposure to this technology. A neural link could accelerate those changes to unknown levels. What kind of changes? Maya demanded. I don't know, but they're consistent with the patterns we're seeing in Nexus Prime's organic components. The implications were staggering. Maya looked at the stasis pod she had been drawn to earlier, understanding dawning. It wasn't designed for a creator. It was designed for someone like her, someone with the genetic echo that Nexus responded to. Another impact rocked the chamber. The doors wouldn't hold much longer. If I do this, Maya asked Nexus Prime, can you protect my people until reinforcements arrive? Yes, Sovereign. Maya made her decision. Show me how. As Nexus guided her toward the stasis pod, she caught Ward's expression, a mixture of concern and resignation. He understood. as she did, that whatever happened next would change her forever. But if it meant saving her team and keeping this power from those who would misuse it, the sacrifice was necessary. The pod opened as she approached, confirming her suspicion that it had been waiting for her specifically. Inside, a contoured surface perfectly matched human anatomy. "Lie down," Nexus Prime instructed. "The interface will establish connection automatically." As Maya positioned herself in the pod, she addressed her team one last time. "Hold this position. When the Dauntless arrives, tell them." She swallowed hard. "Tell them I did what was necessary." The pod closed around her, and darkness engulfed her vision. For a moment, there was nothing but silence and the sound of her own heartbeat. Then fire erupted along her neural pathways as Nexus Prime's consciousness merged with hers. Maya screamed as millions of years of data flooded her mind. The rise and fall of the creators, the terrible power they had wielded, the catastrophe that had driven them to create the archives and guardians like Nexus Prime. And through it all, one truth became blindingly clear. She was not merely similar to the creators. She was their legacy, the culmination of a plan set in motion millions of years ago. Humans hadn't evolved naturally on Earth. They had been engineered, seeded, guided over countless generations to develop into a species that could one day reclaim the creator legacy. As this revelation settled into her transformed consciousness, Maya felt Nexus Prime's combat protocols activating through their shared neural link. The chamber doors finally gave way, and Valkyrie forces poured in, only to face a nightmare beyond their comprehension. Through Nexus Prime's senses, Maya witnessed the slaughter as the Guardian, now operating at full capacity, tore through the invaders. She felt both horror and exhilaration as her commands, shaped by human morality, but executed with creator efficiency, directed the ancient weapon. And somewhere, deep in the genetic memory Nexus had awakened within her, Maya understood that this was only the beginning. Sovereign dawn. Pain lanced through Maya's consciousness as another wave of Valkyrie attackers breached the outer defenses. Through her neural link with Nexus Prime, she felt every impact, every discharge of energy weapons against the Guardian's regenerating form. 26 minutes had passed since she entered the stasis pod, 26 minutes of transformed perception as her mind expanded beyond human limitations. "Hold the Western approach," she commanded through the link, directing Nexus Prime to reinforce that section. Through the Guardian's senses, she perceived her team barricaded behind makeshift defenses, Ward and the remaining security personnel fighting with grim determination. The neural synchronization had proven more profound than either she or Nexus Prime had anticipated. Rather than simply providing energy, the link had fully integrated their consciousnesses. Maya now accessed the archives directly, understanding technologies and histories that would have taken archaeologists decades to decipher. And what she learned terrified her. The creators, who called themselves the Anlil, had not merely been an advanced civilization. They had been reality shapers, beings who had evolved beyond physical limitations to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Their technology wasn't built, it was grown, programmed at the quantum level to respond to thought and genetic markers. And humans were their deliberate legacy, seeded across habitable worlds as genetic time capsules, carrying dormant Anlil sequences that would gradually express themselves when exposed to the right environmental triggers. Like this facility, like Nexus Prime, Captain, Dr. Okafor's voice penetrated Maya's expanded awareness. Your vital signs are becoming erratic. The pod is changing you at the cellular level. Maya struggled to focus on the physical world, to remember her human limitations and responsibilities. Status report, she managed, her voice sounding distant to her own ears. The Valkyrie have pulled back from direct assault, Ward replied, approaching the pod cautiously. They're regrouping, possibly waiting for reinforcements. That thing you're connected to has killed at least 50 of them. Not killed, Maya corrected automatically, accessing data through the link. Contained. Their consciousness patterns have been stored for analysis. Ward's expression darkened. That's not what I saw, Captain. I saw them torn apart. Their physical forms, yes, but the Enlil understood consciousness as a form of energy, capable of being transferred and stored. Maya struggled to translate concepts that had no equivalent in human language. What matters is that we've bought time. The Dauntless will be here soon. Dr. Caffrey approached, his augmented eyes scanning the pod and Maya within it. Captain, your cellular structure is showing accelerated changes. Your DNA is expressing sequences that were previously dormant. If we don't disengage you from that system soon, you may not be able to return to your baseline human state. Maya knew he was right. With each passing minute, she felt less connected to her human body and more integrated with the facility's systems. The universe looked different through Enlil perception, layers of reality and possibility that human senses could never detect. But the transformation wasn't complete. It had been millions of years since the Enlil had seeded human genetic material on Earth. The dormant sequences had degraded, become imperfect. She wasn't becoming a true Enlil. She was becoming something new, a hybrid of human and creator. A proximity alert flashed through the neural network. Not Valkyrie this time. Something else. Captain, Rivera's voice came urgently through the comm system. We're detecting new energy signatures in orbit. They're not Earth vessels, and they're not Valkyrie. Maya expanded her awareness, connecting to the facility's long-dormant sensor array. What she saw sent a spike of alarm through her transformed consciousness. The Valkyrie called for reinforcements, she announced, but not from their own kind. Those are mercenary vessels, mixed crews of opportunists who hunt for lost technology. The Valkyrie must have promised them a share of whatever they find here. How many? Ward demanded. 3 ships, heavily armed. Maya accessed tactical analysis subroutines through Nexus Prime. They're deploying dropships. We can expect at least 60 more hostiles within 15 minutes. Ward's expression was grim. We can't hold against those numbers, Captain. Not even with your friend. Maya knew he was right. Despite Nexus Prime's formidable capabilities, it was designed to guard specific sections of the facility, not repel a full-scale invasion. And the neural synchronization, while powerful, was taking an increasing toll on her human physiology. She made her decision. Dr. Zhang, I need you to access the control console. There's a protocol called Sanctuary Shield. Activate it. Zhang moved to the console, his fingers hesitating over the alien interface. Captain, I don't see anything with that designation. You will, Maya replied. Through the neural link, she transmitted authorization codes directly to the facility systems. The console reconfigured before Zhang's startled eyes, revealing new command pathways. What exactly does this shield do? Ward asked suspiciously. It seals the archives in a temporal stasis field, Maya explained. Nothing gets in or out until it's deactivated by someone with the proper genetic markers. You're talking about time manipulation technology, Dr. Caffrey said incredulously. That's impossible. Not impossible, just beyond current human understanding. Maya felt a strange sense of disconnection as she spoke, as if her human self was becoming an increasingly small part of her expanding consciousness. The Enlil mastered temporal mechanics before their collapse. Dr. Okafor stepped forward, her expression troubled. Captain, if you activate this shield, what happens to us? To you. Maya hesitated, accessing the relevant data through the archives. The shield will encompass this chamber and the surrounding sections. We'll be safe inside it, but effectively cut off from the outside world until the shield is deactivated. For how long? Ward demanded. Time won't pass for us inside the field, Maya explained. But outside, it could be minutes, days, or years before the Dauntless arrives and figures out how to reactivate the archives. A heavy silence fell over the team as they absorbed the implications. They would be preserved, but at what cost? How much time would pass in the outside world while they remained frozen? Would they emerge to find everyone they knew dead of old age? There has to be another way, Rivera protested. Maya accessed tactical simulations through Nexus Prime, running thousands of scenarios in seconds. The results were uniformly grim. There isn't. Not if we want to keep this technology from falling into the wrong hands. Another proximity alert flashed through the neural network. The mercenary dropships had entered the atmosphere. Time was running out. "Do it," Ward said finally, making the decision when no one else would. "Better trapped than dead. And better us sealed in here than letting the Valkyrie or those mercenaries get their hands on weapons that could threaten Earth." Maya nodded, then transmitted the final authorization codes through her link with Nexus Prime. The facility's systems responded instantly. A low humming filled the chamber as energy began to coalesce around its perimeter. "Everyone inside the marked area," Maya instructed, highlighting a section of the floor through the facility's holographic systems. "Anything outside the boundary will be excluded from the stasis field." As her team moved to comply, Maya detected movement at the chamber's main entrance. A Valkyrie figure stood there, taller and more heavily armored than the others they had encountered. Its helmet retracted, revealing a face covered in iridescent scales, eyes glittering with intelligence and fury. The commander, Nexus Prime identified through their link. The Valkyrie commander surveyed the chamber, its gaze fixing on Maya in the stasis pod. When it spoke, the translation matrix in Maya's neural implant rendered its harsh language into English. "Human," it said, voice carrying a metallic resonance. "You do not understand what you have found. This technology is not meant for your kind. It belongs to those who can wield it properly. And you believe that's the Valkyrie?" Maya replied, her voice amplified through the facility systems. "We have studied the ancients for generations," the commander stated. "Their artifacts, their language, their vision. We are their rightful heirs." Maya accessed the archives, examining records of Valkyrie interaction with Enlil technology. What she found was troubling. Through millennia of scavenging, the Valkyrie had collected fragments of Enlil technology, reverse engineering what little they could understand, but their understanding was dangerously incomplete. Their attempts to utilize creator weapons had resulted in the destruction of entire star systems, ecological collapse on dozens of worlds. They weren't heirs. They were children playing with nuclear fire. "You've misused what little you found," Maya stated, her voice carrying the weight of ancient knowledge. "The Enlil left failsafes in their technology, genetic locks that respond only to specific markers. Markers you lack. Markers you somehow possess," the commander hissed, anger and covetousness mingling in its reptilian features. "A biological accident. An evolutionary fluke." Maya felt Nexus Prime's consciousness pressing against hers, sharing information too complex for words. The truth was far more deliberate than the Valkyrie commander could comprehend. "Not an accident," she replied. "A inheritance, a responsibility." The humming intensified as the sanctuary shield neared activation. Energy crawled across the chamber walls in luminescent patterns, forming a barrier between Maya's team and the Valkyrie commander. "You cannot hide forever, human," the commander snarled, signaling to forces beyond the chamber. "We will break this facility open and take what is rightfully ours." "Stasis field activating in 15 seconds, Dr. Zhang announced from the console. The commander realized what was happening and lunged forward, only to be repelled by a surge of energy from Nexus Prime. It staggered back, scales smoking from the contact. "This isn't over," it promised, retreating toward the entrance as the temporal field began to solidify. "No," Maya agreed, feeling the strange sensation of time beginning to slow around her. "It's just beginning." The last thing she saw before the stasis field fully engaged was the Valkyrie commander's face, contorted with rage and frustration. Then, for Maya and her team, time simply stopped. Reborn in fire. When awareness returned, it came like a lightning strike, instant and overwhelming. Maya gasped, her consciousness snapping back into her transformed body with disorienting suddenness. The neural connection with Nexus Prime surged to full capacity, flooding her mind with status reports and sensor data. The stasis field had collapsed. Time had resumed its normal flow. But how long had passed? Status report. She managed through the neural link, her actual voice weak from disuse. Her team was stirring around her, equally disoriented by the sudden transition. Ward recovered first, military training kicking in as he assessed their situation. "Field's down," he reported, checking his equipment. "Can't tell how long we were under." Maya extended her awareness through the facility's systems, searching for answers. What she found sent a shock through her still-adapting nervous system. 3 years, 4 months, 17 days, she announced, the precise measurement flowing from the Archive's chronometric systems. That's how long the stasis field was active. 3 years. Dr. Okafor's voice cracked. But the dauntless Earth Command. They should have found us by now. Maya's expanded consciousness reached further, connecting to the facility's external sensors. The planet's surface was in chaos. Evidence of massive bombardment, craters where once there had been plains. The ancient defense systems had maintained a partial record of events during their temporal displacement. The dauntless battle group arrived as scheduled, she reported grimly. But they encountered something unexpected. Not just Valkyrie forces, but a coalition, multiple species united against Earth interests. The stasis pod opened as Maya disconnected herself from its physical interface. The neural link with Nexus Prime remained intact, however, a permanent bridge between human and Anlal technology. She stood, surprised by how steady she felt despite the physical changes she knew had occurred throughout her body. "What happened to the Dauntless?" Rivera asked, her face pale with dread. "Destroyed," Maya answered, accessing the fragmentary records, along with most of its support vessels. Earth Command designated this system as too dangerous and established a quarantine zone. "They abandoned us," Zhang said bitterly. "They thought we were dead," Maya corrected. "And they were right to withdraw. What the Valkyrie found here, what they managed to activate even without proper genetic access." She hesitated, the information from the archives almost too terrible to vocalize. "Captain," Ward prompted. "They awakened more Guardians," Maya finally said. "Lesser models than Nexus Prime, but still powerful. Without the proper genetic commands, the Guardians reverted to base protocols. Protect the archives at all costs. They attacked everything in orbit indiscriminately. Through their neural link, Nexus Prime shared images of the battle, Earth vessels and alien ships alike being torn apart by crystalline entities, similar to itself, but lacking its sophistication. The slaughter had been absolute, leaving the system littered with debris. "So we're stranded," Dr. Caftry stated flatly. 3 years from the nearest help, surrounded by hostile forces, with no way to signal Earth. "Not precisely," Maya replied, a plan forming in her transformed mind. "The archives contain technology that the Anlo used for interstellar travel. Not faster than light drives as we understand them, but something more fundamental, a way to fold space itself." "That's theoretical physics," Dr. Okafor objected. "No one has ever demonstrated practical space folding." "The Anlil did," Maya stated simply. "And the knowledge is here. But first, we need to secure this facility and neutralize the threat outside." She connected more deeply to Nexus Prime, accessing tactical systems. Through the Guardian's enhanced senses, she detected movement throughout the facility. Valkyrie forces still present after 3 years, along with other species drawn by rumors of ancient technology. They had established a permanent presence, mining the facility's outer sections while trying to breach the stasis field that had protected the central archives. And they had succeeded. The field's collapse hadn't been accidental. It had been deliberate sabotage. "We have company incoming," Maya announced. "Multiple hostiles converging on this chamber. They must have detected the stasis field's collapse." Ward immediately organized the remaining security personnel, positioning them at key points around the chamber. "How many?" 37 in the immediate vicinity, Maya replied, the precise count flowing from Nexus Prime sensors. More beyond, they've established a full-scale mining operation in the outer sections. We can't fight those numbers, Rivera stated the obvious. We won't have to. Maya moved to the central console, her fingers dancing across its surface with newfound familiarity. The archives contain defense systems beyond what we've seen. Nexus Prime is just one Guardian model among many. The console responded to her commands, illuminating sections of the facility that had remained dormant until now. Deep beneath them, ancient machinery hummed to life, systems awakening after millions of years in standby mode. What are you activating? Dr. Capri asked, watching in fascination and alarm as Maya's fingers moved with inhuman precision across the alien interface. Preservation protocols, she replied. The Enlil designed this facility to survive catastrophic attacks, including orbital bombardment. It can reconfigure itself, seal off compromised sections, and deploy additional Guardians as needed. The chamber shuddered as massive mechanisms engaged throughout the structure. Walls shifted, passages sealed, and new openings appeared. The facility was transforming around them, becoming a fortress. Captain, Ward said cautiously, I'm not questioning your judgment, but are you sure you're still you? These changes, this connection with the alien technology, how do we know it hasn't compromised your thinking? Maya paused, considering the question seriously. The neural link with Nexus Prime had indeed transformed her consciousness in ways she was still discovering. Her perception, her understanding of reality itself, had expanded beyond human limitations. But at her core, her values remained unchanged. I'm still Maya Chen, she assured him. Enhanced, yes. Changed, certainly. But my loyalty to Earth, to humanity, and to this team hasn't wavered. If anything, I understand more clearly now what's at stake. Before Ward could respond, the chamber's newly formed entrance portal flickered with energy as something breached the outer defenses. Nexus Prime moved with blinding speed, positioning itself between the team and the threat. Through the opening stepped a figure that caused Maya's transformed senses to flare in recognition and alarm. It wasn't Valkyrie. It was something else entirely, a being encased in technology that blazed with distorted Enlil signatures, stolen technology, corrupted and misused. At last, the figure said in heavily accented English, the heart of the archives, and its new guardian. Maya recognized the voice pattern immediately through Nexus Prime's analytical systems. You're the mercenary commander. From 3 years ago. The figure inclined its head, the motion made awkward by the mechanical exoskeleton it wore, a crude adaptation of Enlil design. I am Rexer of the collective. Once a mere salvager, now something more. Its attention fixed on Maya with disturbing intensity. As are you, human. You've bonded with the Guardian technology. How did you breach the stasis field? Maya demanded, though Nexus Prime was already analyzing the answer. The mercenary's exoskeleton contained components harvested from lesser Guardians, providing limited access to Enlil systems. 3 years of study and sacrifice, Rexer replied. Many died learning the secrets of this place, but their deaths served a purpose. We've unlocked enough to understand what truly lies within these archives. Its voice lowered reverently. The Genesis engine. Maya felt a chill despite her transformed physiology. Through the neural link, Nexus Prime confirmed her fears. The Genesis engine was the most closely guarded secret of the Enlil, a technology so powerful it had been sealed away even before the collapse, a tool for creating or destroying entire worlds in moments. You have no idea what you're tampering with, Maya warned. On the contrary, Rexer gestured, and more figures appeared behind it, a mixture of species, all enhanced with salvaged Enlil technology. We understand enough to know that only one with the proper genetic markers can fully activate it, someone like you. Maya assessed the situation through Nexus Prime's combat analysis. Despite the facility's awakened defenses, they were outnumbered. The mercenaries had spent 3 years studying Anlil technology, developing countermeasures against the Guardians. But they hadn't counted on a human-Anlil hybrid with direct neural access to the archives. Last chance, Maya offered, genuine compassion in her voice despite the threat these beings posed. Leave this facility. The technology here isn't meant for any of us, not even me. The Anlil sealed it away for a reason. Rexer's response was predictable. Activate the Genesis engine, human, or watch your companions die one by one. Maya sighed, a strangely human gesture from her increasingly post-human form. Then, through the neural link, she issued a command that Nexus Prime had been waiting 3 million years to receive. Sovereign Override Protocol. Authorization. Maya Chin, genetic inheritor. Full defense activation. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Throughout the facility, dormant systems surged to life. The very walls began to pulse with energy as Anlil technology responded to the command of a recognized authority. From recessed chambers and hidden alcoves, more Guardians emerge, dozens of them, each different from Nexus Prime, but sharing its fundamental nature. Rexer stumbled back in alarm as the chamber filled with crystalline entities, their forms shifting between states of matter in ways that defied conventional physics. "What have you done?" the mercenary commander demanded. "I've awakened the facility's true purpose," Maya replied, her voice resonating with newfound authority. The Anlil didn't build this place to house weapons or engines of destruction. Those were never their legacy. Through her expanded awareness, Maya directed the Guardians to secure the chamber without harming her team. The mercenaries found themselves immobilized, their stolen technology suddenly inert as the Archive's systems reasserted control. The Anlil reached a point of technological advancement where they could reshape reality itself. Maya continued, approaching Rexer without fear. They could have conquered the galaxy, enslaved other species, become gods in all but name. Instead, they chose a different path. She gestured, and the chamber's central platform reconfigured, revealing a structure that had remained hidden even from Nexus Prime until now. A sphere of pure energy, suspended in a containment field of unimaginable complexity. "This is the Genesis engine," Maya explained, her voice softening with wonder. "Not a weapon, but a seed bank, a repository of every form of life the Anlil encountered in their exploration of the cosmos, including early humans taken from Earth millions of years ago and preserved here." Rexer struggled against invisible restraints. "Impossible. The legends speak of a weapon of unparalleled destruction." "Because that's what you wanted to hear," Maya replied. The Anlil were done with destruction by the time they built this facility. They had seen the end result of unchecked technological advancement, the extinction of countless species, including, ultimately, their own. Through the neural link, Nexus Prime shared the final truth, the purpose behind Maya's genetic compatibility, behind humanity's carefully guided evolution on Earth. The Anlil didn't just store their technology here, she told her astonished team. They stored themselves, their consciousness, their genetic templates, their collective knowledge, all preserved within the archives, waiting for the day when their descendants would be ready to reclaim it. Their descendants, Dr. Okafor whispered, understanding dawning. "You mean us, humans." Maya nodded. "One branch of humanity, specifically." The Anlil seeded multiple worlds with genetic templates, each developing along different evolutionary paths. Earth was just one among many, but the only one where their genetic markers remained viable. "So we're what? Aliens?" Rivera asked incredulously. "We're their children," Maya corrected, "and their legacy. The Anlil destroyed themselves through technological hubris, but they created us as a second chance, a species that might one day reach their level of advancement without repeating their mistakes." She turned back to Rexer, compassion replacing anger. "That's why this technology responds only to specific genetic markers, not to keep it from other species out of prejudice or superiority, but because the Anlil knew how dangerous it could be without the proper understanding. The mercenary commander's resistance faltered as the truth settled over it. Then, all our searching, all our sacrifices, were based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Maya confirmed gently. The greatest weapon in the universe is knowledge, and the wisdom to know when not to use it. She stepped away, returning to her team. Through the neural link, she directed Nexus Prime and the other Guardians to begin a facility-wide security sweep, neutralizing remaining hostile forces without lethal force where possible. "What now, Captain?" Ward asked, the question encompassing far more than their immediate situation. Maya looked at each member of her team, humans who had come to this distant world seeking knowledge, not conquest. In them, she saw the potential the Anlil had recognized millions of years ago. "Now we complete our mission," she replied. "We study, we learn, and when we're ready, we contact Earth." "With what?" Zhang asked. "Our communications equipment can't reach that far." Maya smiled, the expression strangely serene on her transformed features. "The Anlil left us more than weapons and genetic memories. They left us the means to travel between stars in the blink of an eye. Technology that Earth isn't ready for yet, but will be with proper guidance." She extended her awareness through the facility once more, activating systems that had lain dormant since before humans walked upright on Earth. The central platform reconfigured again, this time revealing what appeared to be a simplified control interface, one designed specifically for humans at their current technological level. "This is a subspace transmitter," Maya explained. "It can send a signal to Earth instantaneously, regardless of distance. We'll let them know we're alive and what we found here." "And the Genesis engine?" Dr. Capri asked, eyeing the sphere of energy with scientific curiosity. "Remain sealed," Maya said firmly. "Even I don't have the authority to access its full capabilities. That requires a consensus among multiple genetic inheritors, a safeguard the Anlil built into their most powerful technologies." As her team began the process of establishing communication with Earth, Maya stepped aside, communing privately with Nexus Prime through their neural link. "The transformation is accelerating," the Guardian observed, referring to the changes in Maya's physiology and consciousness. "I know," she acknowledged. "How long do I have before I'm no longer human enough to lead them?" "That definition is fluid," Nexus Prime replied with unexpected philosophical depth. The Anlil themselves debated what constituted their essence as they evolved beyond their original form. What matters is not the physical transformation, but whether you retain the values and perspective that define humanity at its best. Maya considered this, watching her team work with renewed purpose and hope. Despite everything they had endured, the battles, the temporal displacement, the revelations about human origins, they remained fundamentally human in their curiosity, their resilience, and their capacity for growth. And so would she, regardless of how her body and mind continued to evolve. That was the true legacy of both humanity and the Anlil, not the technology they created, but the values that guided its use. As the subspace transmitter powered up, preparing to send humanity's first faster-than-light communication across the stars, Maya felt a profound sense of purpose settle over her. The creature that had once been programmed to kill had instead recognized her sovereignty, not as a master to be obeyed, but as a partner in preserving a legacy too important to be lost. Together, they would guide humanity toward a future where technology served wisdom, rather than the other way around. And perhaps someday, the children of Earth would fulfill the promise the Anlil had seen in them millions of years ago, becoming not conquerors of the stars, but their worthy inheritors. The signal activated, bridging the vast distance between this ancient outpost and humanity's birthplace. The message was simple, but its implications would transform human civilization forever. "This is Captain Maya Chen, United Earth Exploration Corps. We are alive, and we are not alone. We never were. This is Captain Maya Chen, United Earth Exploration Corps. We are alive, and we are not alone. We never were."